Hello and welcome to my channel. As you can see from my shirt, we are doing a New Year's Eve look today. And I thought we could do something with the Head in the Clouds palette by Mitchell. I wanted to do a little bit of a colorful look. So this is the palette my mind went to instantly. And I think we're going to do something today with the blues and the white and maybe some gray. And I think it'll be very festive. So we're going to do a full face, but before we get started, I want to thank you so much for clicking on my video. My name is Cecile, I'm 28 years old, I live in the Netherlands, and I try to upload 2 to 3 times a week with makeup related content. And I would love to share it with you, so if that sounds interesting to you, then please consider subscribing. We're going to start with my trusty Glam Light eyeshadow primer. So the look I want to go for today is supposed to be colorful, fun, pretty full coverage, lasting a long time, and a little bit sparkly. Because I feel like New Year's Eve is one of those occasions that you can do that. I'm going to start with the shade which is called Skywaver. And I'm taking a sort of medium-sized fluffy brush and I'm going to put this shade in the crease. I know I said I wanted to do a colorful look, but it's not a tropical look like the one I did previously with this palette. I feel like New Year's Eve is more about the cool tones. And with cool tones, a great transition shade just looks the best. I really love that he put one in this palette. And this grey actually has a bit of a blue undertone. It really is a very pretty color. I didn't notice that before, but it's really quite a cool tone grey, even for a grey. Just going to keep it at that, but I'm going to clean my brush on my hand and take a little bit of the white, which is called Water. And I'm just going to blend out the grey. Give a nice brow bone highlight at the same time. Now I'm switching to a small packing brush, or more of a pencil brush I must say, and I'm going into the shade Midnight, which is this beautiful dark blue. It has a little bit of a purple undertone, but all of these dark shades do. And I'm just trying to keep that focused in the outer corner. But I am also putting a little bit at the outer corner of the lower lash line. Yes, I think this is the shape that I want. This is perfect. I have a tendency to throw everything I put in my outer corner in my crease as well. And I'm glad I stopped myself on time. Yes, I think that's it for the mattes. This is the shape that I want. Now I'm going to take my finger and I'm going into the showstopper of this look, which is Eclipse. This beautiful blue. And I'm going to put that in the outer lid, sort of this far, like 2/3 in. And this is my absolute favorite shade in this palette. It's so pretty and sparkly. And I am making an effort to blend it into the grey, but not too high, like I often do with shimmers. I'm going to keep this one a little bit lower. It's just so dark, it would look a little bit weird if I put it too high. I'm taking a clean finger and I'm just running that all around the edges of the blue. Sometimes your fingers are the best brushes you can buy. Okay, I still have one clean finger. And I'm using that to put the white shade. This is called Clouded. And I'm putting that at the inner part of the lid. Trying to overlap the blue just a little bit. This white shade is a lot less pigmented than the blue, so I need a couple of layers. I'm also putting this in the inner corner. Looks great. I hope it also looks good on camera. I think this is a very fresh way to use blue. To combine it with a white. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Now I'm just a little bit in dubio about what to do with my lower lash line. I kind of want to do it all blue, but it would also look really nice to add a little bit of purple or pink to this look. And I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to add the purple. Taking this small pencil brush and I'm taking this shade Soda Skies, which is that darker purple. And I'm putting it underneath the lower lash line. I'm making sure to blend it into the blue. Yeah, I think this looks nice. I think it would have looked nice if I only used the blue as well. But I still think this looks nice. It's just a little bit too deep underneath my tear duct. So I'm going back into the white, the shimmery white. And I'm putting a little bit on top here. To make it a little bit more of a lavender shade. Still want that inner part of my eyes to be bright. So this is what I'm going to do with the eyeshadows. Alright, I'm taking a black eyeliner. I thought about going colorful, but I feel like this will make it a little bit more smoky and evening appropriate. This is the black eyeliner by Essence. And I'm putting that in the waterline and also tight lining with it. I'm going to keep it small like that. For mascara, I'm going into my Essence Lash Princess. Wow, that eyeshadow looks really nice and sparkly. I hope it translates that way on camera as well. And I'm going to add a lot of mascara. I'm not going to wear any lashes. The thing is, I'm sort of doing this as a trial run for my actual New Year's Eve look. And I don't think I want to be bothered by lashes all night. Because we're going to friends and we're staying there from dinner to very late in the evening. And I don't feel up for it. And I also feel like when you take off your lashes, your makeup just looks very ugly and incomplete all of a sudden. So you either have to stick with them or you don't, and I'm not going to. But of course, if that's your thing, please add lashes. So that was coat number 1. Now I'm going into coat number 2. I actually never double coat. Look at the drama. Also going to double coat the lower lashes. And I think I'm going to keep it at that. I feel like this is drama enough. I like this eye look. So I'm taking my wipe and I'm just going to make sure there's no glitter on my face. Alright, now we need a base that will last through the night. And the primer that I usually like to use whenever I want my makeup to last, well, for hours and hours, is the L'Or Radiance primer by Guerlain. This is supposed to be a radiant primer, like the name says, but I like to use it to make my makeup more long lasting. It's really like the Milk Hydro Grip primer, except that it feels a little bit nicer on the face. I did try that primer once. But this one is just a lot lighter and it's nicer, I think. But same effect, if you have the Milk Hydro Grip or one of the e.l.f. gripping primers, something like that. But I'm going to let it sit for a little bit. And I'm going to do part of my brows already. I'm using my spoolie and the ABH Brow Freeze. And I'm going to slick up my brows. So what I like to do is I like to put them all the way up initially. And then go over the edges just a little bit. So I get something like this. But then I do like to go back into the front and make sure everything is really standing all the way up at the front. I just play around a little bit. That's the beauty of the brow freeze. You can just play and play. It doesn't really dry down till like half an hour later. With that step out of the way, my primer has now become nice and tacky. I think we're going into foundation. And the foundation that I pulled out for today is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. This, on me, is pretty long lasting. I would advise you to do a test with this one, because for some reason on some people it doesn't last as long. But on me this lasts all the way through morning if I wanted to. Also a great new foundation that I discovered this year is the Guerlain Haute Perfection L'Essentiel foundation. That one is equally good. I feel like the Charlotte Tilbury is just a touch more perfecting. And I just felt like wearing that one right now. Really, any high coverage, smooth foundation is going to be perfect for long lasting. I would of course love to go in with my Huda Glowish foundation, but I know that one is not going to last till 4 o'clock. As you can see, this one does oxidize a little bit, so it looks very white when I just put it on. But I think the shade is perfect for me right now. And this foundation is actually so full coverage that I don't even really need to wear any concealer. I'm going to, but more for brightening than for actually concealing. So for brightening, I'm going into my ABH concealer. This is the Magic Touch, and I have it in a very pale shade, shade number 1. And I'm just going to add a little bit here, a little bit here. It's really not that much. Like I said, I don't want any coverage, I just want a little bit of brightening. I'm taking my sponge. And now I'm taking my finger. This is what I always do ever since I discovered the technique. Before we set the face, I want to use some cream products, because like you all know, cream under powder makes every product last longer. So I'm going into my dual-ended contour stick by Got2b, and I'm taking the small contour side. This formula is just a little bit more subtle than my Fenty cream bronzer. The Fenty I have in the contour shade Amber, and I really like that. But I am planning on also putting on a bronzer on top, and I feel like that's just a little bit too much. The Fenty is pretty high coverage. Also, this one is very precise, as you can see. I'm also going to put a little bit underneath my jaw. I mean, it looks pretty intense, but this will blend out beautifully. To blend it out, I'm going into my Real Techniques contour brush. And I think I'm going to start with the nose. See, it's a beautiful contour. Looks a little bit intense actually. Maybe I put on a little bit too much. No, I think this is fine. I'm just going to take my sponge. I see on camera that I have some lines of demarcation. I don't see them in real life, but better safe than sorry. That's great. Now I always feel like a pinky toned or peachy toned blush looks the best with this kind of eyeshadow. So I'm going to take my Sisley Vito Blush Twist in the shade number 1, Petal, which is a beautiful pinky shade. And I'm going to layer this one on top later. I'm just putting some right there. And I like to take my finger with this specific formula. This is actually almost a neon pink. I really like it on its own as well. For longevity's sake, I'm going to add a little bit of powder blush on top. Alright, I'm going to skip a liquid highlighter because I feel like that's almost guaranteed to be a mess. And I'm going straight into powder. And for powder today, I want to use my Gucci powder. This is a little bit more full coverage and a little bit more heavy duty than my essence powder that I often use. I like to take it on the little sponge, look down, and really press it into the concealer. This is a pretty matte powder, so I'm going to restrain myself from using it on too many places. Just in this triangle here. Now I have a normal skin type, so I don't really need to powder much else. I am also putting a little bit of the remainder right here. Because I feel like the Charlotte Tilbury is matte enough on its own. I feel like this looks nice. And on me, this lasts long enough. But I can imagine if you have a little bit more of an oily skin type, then you can use this all over as well. This is a beautiful powder. This one keeps my makeup the least creased from all of my powders that I currently own. For bronzer, I'm going to take my Dior Forever Bronze. Forever Natural Bronze. Yeah, that's the name. In the shade number 4, which is a little bit more of a cooler shade, but I personally like that. And I'm going to take this brush, which is a little bit more precise than the one that I usually use. This is one from Essence. And I'm just going to go over the perimeters of my face, set that contour that we used, bronze it up a little bit. This is a very nice buildable formula. It doesn't cling to your foundation or your contour. And you can keep it pretty subtle like this, but you can also build it up. So this is one thin layer all over. I'm just going to add a little bit more right here. Great, now let's finish the brows. I'm going to take my NYX Lift and Snatch and I'm going to draw little hairs, especially in the places that are currently a little bit sparse. I did use the Anastasia Brow Freeze on its own for quite a long time. But it did look a little bit too glued on. You need that little bit of added naturalness. And I kind of like the dramatic look. I feel like this looks great. Alright, like I said, we're going to add a blush from the Nars Orgasm on the Beach palette. This was a limited edition over the summer, but I think this one is actually just a regular Orgasm, only in a baked chalet formula. So I'm going to take that shade, and the beauty of this one is that it is pink and it is a little bit cool toned. But it's not like extremely Barbie pink. It has a little bit of a peachy factor. I personally really like it with this kind of eyeshadow. Now with such a nice and glowy blush, you almost don't need a highlighter, but it's New Year's Eve. Of course I'm going to use a separate highlighter. And the one that I want to use is actually also from the Dior Forever line. This is the Dior Forever Couture Luminizer. I have mine in the shade number 3, Pearlescent Glow. It's the white one, but this one has a beautiful bluish cast. And I feel like it'll just go beautifully with this eyeshadow. You could of course use any kind of more skin toned highlighter, but I want to go all out. So I'm taking my ABH brush, but I am going to contain the areas that I use this in. So I'm mainly putting it right here at the highest point of my cheekbone, keeping it nice and high. I actually almost put it underneath my eye. And keeping it like this gives it just that little, hey, what's that? Except when you put it on your nose or your lip, it looks like a glittery mess. So I refrain from doing that. I just let the cheekbone sparkle. This is a lesson I had to learn. It took me a long while to accept this fact that glittery highlights do not look good on your lip. Looks very sweaty. But this looks kind of cool, right? So I'm not going to put any highlight on the center of my face. I didn't powder my nose, so there's still a little bit of that natural sheen. So it's perfect. Now all we need is a lip, and I'm kind of tempted to take it all the way there and put on this bright fuchsia lipstick. But I don't think that's the prettiest option. I do think with a blue eye, peachy nude is the best way to go. And also because it's a little bit more comfortable, I'm going to go with my Chanel 402 Adrienne, which is a sort of neutrally peachy nude. This is not a super pale nude on me. I think that, let me see if I have it. Maybe adding a little bit of this Burberry lipstick in the center. Yeah, I think that's nice. I would wear this one on its own as well, but well, I went for the Chanel today. Something I'm also considering is this this lip balm from the Soph X Makeup Revolution collection. This is a beautiful pinky tone that's very sheer. I think that would look beautiful with this as well, but well, just giving you a couple of options. Now I am going to spray my face because I do feel like that will lock in the foundation just a little bit. And the one that works best for me, as far as I've discovered, is the Maybelline Lasting Fix setting spray. I use this very sparingly. Like, I use a lot, but I use it almost never because this is actually very drying. But it will keep your foundation in place just a little bit longer. And with that, my makeup look is now complete. I did match my scrunchie. Yes, I did. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll have a lovely New Year's Eve. Maybe you can take some inspiration from this look, and otherwise I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.